Alright, cool. So here I am. If there's anyone that still stuck around for this one, then welcome back for those that came back for this. This one I'm going to be doing a Bob Ross style painting using PaintStorm. If you don't have PaintStorm, I absolutely recommend getting it. It's only $20. You own it for life. That's free updates and everything for life. And that's PaintStorm. Also, my Bob Ross brushes, which is what I'll be using here. Here's all my Bob Ross brushes. You can download them for free on my website. Again, that's masterpaintingnow.com. If you have any questions during this live show or live stream, whatever, feel free to ask me. Here's the website right here. You go to the subscribe for free lessons, go ahead and subscribe, download the brushes, they're free, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I actually did a quick snow painting for my course. I'm actually working on a Bob Ross course for Udemy so that you can learn everything there is to know about painting Bob Ross style. And for that course I did this quick little painting here. So it's kind of cool, little nice painting. So we'll do something easy and quick like that. Let me go ahead and move that. Oops, I didn't want to move that. This. Hey. Oh, I guess I have to just close that out. I'll open it up this way. Let's go over here to, I'm just waiting for people to come back in that wanted to watch this one. So pictures, let's see, paintings, Bob Ross, there we go, little Christmas one there. I'll go ahead and let everyone know I'm going to be doing a Bob Ross style painting now. Cool. Alright, so we're going to get started on this Christmas one now. Let me go ahead and just put out a tweet here if everyone knows I'm starting a new live session. New. Oops. There we go. Ross style winter time. Alright, cool. Go ahead and put that out there. One more thing here before we get started. Hang tight, everyone. We're about to start this Bob Ross winter painting right now. Go ahead and put this out so people know. So just take a second. Cool. Just going to share this to all the YouTubers here. Create a post. Come check out the live video right now. Painting winter time. Alright, cool. Alright, sorry about that. Just had to do some inviting real quick. Let's go ahead and get this painting started now. Thank you for the subscription there, Brian. Much appreciated. And here we go. We're going to go ahead and start painting now. So the first thing I like to do is start out with my, my base color. I like to go a little bit darker, so let's go with the blue color here. Kind of a grayish blue color. We want it to kind of feel like wintertime. Maybe a little bit more blue. Not too much blue. There we go. Something about like that. We can always add some blue back into it. That's my sky brush. Really awesome for laying down some fast colors. And then we can add some, quick type of clouds and stuff back here as well. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go with a much lighter color now. And let's add clouds. We're going to use my second cloud brush here. This one's great for laying in the base of your clouds. We'll start with some big ones up here. Kind of come with some shapes there, and then maybe you kind of press, kind of like give a little bit of pressure at first, and then a lot less pressure, and kind of little circles around it. So it's kind of like when you paint with Bob Ross, when he does his clouds, he'll like do push and get the basic shape of the cloud, and then kind of take the edge of the brush and kind of light circles like that to kind of blend out the edges. So it's kind of the same idea. It might not look the same because we're using a digital cloud brush here versus it's actually much easier than the doing clouds with a 2-inch brush or a 1-inch brush. So I want to add a good amount of clouds in here. We'll go with even some whiter clouds. We don't want too white though. We kind of want this to look like like a winter stormy kind of clouds, like so. I know I make it look easy with this brush. It's really not. It's a lot harder than I think it looks, but after a while you get some practice with it, doing the techniques. I'll be doing an entire course actually, teaching step by step. I've already recorded it all. I just have to get it all finalized. I'm using my first cloud brush now just to add some sharper texture here and there, like around some of the edges of the clouds here, like that. There we go. That's pretty cool. Might come back in, add some darker clouds in here, just to kind of add some of that shape. Very light touches. But yeah, so if you want to know all the techniques in great detail, how I do everything, how to use all the brushes and stuff, like I said, my Udemy course will be available soon, so stay tuned for that. I recommend subscribing on my channel so you can stay up to date. When I come out with that course, you'll be the first ones to know about it. I rarely ever send out newsletters just for important things like that, so that's a good foundation for the clouds. And then now I want to add some distant trees before we add in the hills and things like that. And so for the distant trees, I actually want to use the same background sky color right here. And we'll go down to our distant trees. I'm going to use this one right here. Let's just use, we could use our far trees and start, come in individually like this. And this is a good, good for our foundation. So just kind of up and down movements. And this adds a nice, kind of texture. At least get a foundation, like a basis for what you kind of want it to look like. And then you can use this far pine tree, but we're not going to do that one. I have another one here, auto trees. This one's really nice for getting that. Just see that really quickly. We get some background trees, and they got some details and everything to them. And we're going to add a couple other trees in front of that. But first, we need to kind of make that look like it fits, because right now, see, that's just too detailed. You would never get that kind of detail. So this is what I kind of call the cheating way, using that brush. But that's fine, it's fun. Then we need to use our awesome blender brush, which is here. And I recommend just kind of lightly pulling up along the edges here. This is going to kind of blend out some of this detail here. And it's kind of make it look kind of like foggy, like it's, see that? It starts to push into the background. It starts looking like there's a fog there, just like that. You can come back over with this, with your far, not that one, far trees, this one right here. And just kind of push the shape up in between some of this, so you can kind of have some individual bush, tree shapes that you made like that without stamping. You're actually using a brush. This is like a fan brush. You want to turn the fan brush vertically and make those kind of shapes and push up like that. That's kind of what this brush is doing. You can also use the actual fan brush. So we can use the vertical fan brush like so and do the same thing with it. Just kind of push up with this brush and just kind of add those little bit of shapes like that, just like so. So now we got kind of some of that distant trees look in there, just like that. We can add some of this, push some of this shape, the lighter color back into the darker color, and to kind of just add some of that right about like that. There we go. That's good. That's good. I like that. You could take your time with this or go fast with this. That one I showed in the beginning, I did that in like 5-10 minutes. You can actually go really fast with some of the stuff and get interesting effects. I'm taking my time here because we're live and stuff, and it'd be kind of a bummer if it was just done that fast. So take the foam brush, and this is a nice brush to work with, and grab the color of the tree and just kind of lightly pull and push on the edges here, just to get rid of some of that texture, because about like that. We just want it to read a little bit like there is some tree texture back there. I might actually want to add some trees back in there. Let's see here. Just a little bit like that. Go back to the foam brush, and I'm just going to lightly get rid of some of this detail. See that? Just kind of push around back and forth horizontal. But I did want that to read. So now I have a couple different layers of trees like that. So it adds a nice layer. And then we're going to come in and actually paint over that. I'm just making sure I get rid of, let's use the awesome blender brush again, make it a little bit smaller. I just want to make sure I get rid of any details. I don't want any details in these trees. Just like that. Just kind of blend them out so they're part of the background there. I'm going to kind of push some of this like that. I might use my bush tool here, so we're going to use bush number 4. I just want to add some basic shapes here to the edge, just like that. See how it's darker and some of that bush texture, and then come back in maybe with a lighter color and just kind of push over a few parts here and there. I just want that texture in the background. Kind of has that winter feel, so it's like distant winter feel. And then we're going to make a couple more trees on top here before we make our hills. Actually, I'm going to start to put in the hills, and then we'll come back with the trees. So let's go to our texture brush first, or maybe actually, you know, let's do the mountain brush first. Mountain brush is really good to like lay in a lot of basic, you know, fundamental shapes and background. So mountain brush is the brush we're going to be using now. Sorry, I'm just kind of resetting my thing here so I can see what's going on. Cool. By the way, if this is live, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. There we go. I had to get my screen back so I can see you guys here. I stream just periodically. I actually, it's only recently that I started streaming on this channel. I used to never stream. I used to only do live, you know, or not live, only do recorded videos. But more recently, I decided, you know what, I'm going to try to do some live streams. Ooh, that's too much. And so yeah, I don't do them that often. Well, I didn't used to do them at all. Lately, I have been trying to do them more often. So I don't have a set streaming schedule or anything, but I've been trying to do them on a more regular basis. So I think lately I've done probably on average about 2 a week. I'm trying to keep that about like 2 a week or so. So hopefully I can keep that up for you guys and get about 2 a week done. So that's the basic idea. By the way, so this is based on a really quick 10-minute painting I did demonstrating different techniques and stuff in my Bob Ross course. And so that's the really quick painting I did. I think it took about 10 minutes or so. And this is actually part of my Bob Ross course. That'll be available soon. So this is kind of how we started. I just need something to kind of indicate where the hills will be, so that way when I do these trees, I know like a general idea where the hills are going to be. Alright, so let's go back into our tree brushes. I have 2 different brushes I like to use. First, my vertical brush, horizontal brush, and then this brush here. These 3 are really great for making distant type of pine trees and those types of trees, winter evergreens. Now, for this, I want to take this color and I need it a little bit darker because I need it to pop out, come more in the foreground. So as things recede in the background, there's less contrast and less dark colors because there's atmosphere between the object and your eyes. And the atmosphere makes it harder to see, especially in an atmosphere like this. And then we might add some snow and stuff to this as well. But see how some of those distant trees look like they're foggy and smoky? I like that. Okay, so I think I want one tree right here. Let's go ahead and make this brush small. And we'll add it like somewhere right about here. I want it to kind of match the one I was working on. Something like so. And my other tree I want like right about here. I'm thinking about, you know, composition. So this is a good composition. You have this tree, you have this tree. Then we're going to have a big tree here. That's going to be the main focus. And then maybe a little snowman. Maybe we'll do the snowman again. And then I think this time I'm going to use this brush here. This one allows me to turn it. You see, as I turn my hand like this, it allows that brush to turn at different angles. This is nice. It allows you to quickly get the angles you want. So start with the brush really small. This is similar to using a fan brush if we're using oils and using the edge or corner of the fan brush and start at the top and then you start using more and more of it. Anyway, I demonstrate how to use all these brushes in the course, so like step by step, all the different techniques and stuff you'll need to get these brushes and how to. So we just need some kind of almost abstract kind of shape here. It's very what's the word? I guess impressionistic. You know, Bob Ross was a very impressionistic type painter, and I think it's why I like Bob Ross so much and why I like that style, because I've always loved impressionism. You know, one of my favorites is Monet or Monet. Monet has this just really nice impressionistic look that I like, and I've always liked impressionism. I'm gonna go right down over this because I'm gonna go back over it again and cover the tree, but it's just easier to paint the tree exactly as you would think it would look, and then to come back over it and get rid of the edges. I'm going to go back to the top. I'm going to add a little bit more top work. So I start at an angle here so I can add just a little bit of branches back and forth like this, just to kind of get that top shape there. And add some. Now I'm going back in, just adding a few little details, just lightly touching the edges, so I can add some of the touches of the brush so it looks like brushwork, the brush texture right there. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now for these distant trees, I think I'm going to leave that one because it's a lot further back. Well, I might add a little bit of snow to it. It's not too far back. It does look a little bit bigger than the one I did over there, so I'll add a little bit of snow to this one. So we just take that same brush and we're just going to kind of touch it in a few spots here and there, just a few little brush strokes to add some snow to this. Just like so. We don't want too much, just a little bit of snow. We want this tree it's more in the as it goes more in the distant background, you can't see as much detail, so maybe something like that. And I want to use my awesome blender brush because I need to make that to where it kind of fits more in the background. It can't be too much detail. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. This also adds a little bit of movement and atmosphere. And just very lightly touch this. I'm barely touching the canvas right now. I just call it canvas. I know I'm working digitally, and so technically it's a Cintiq tablet, but it's just easier to call it canvas. You know what I'm talking about. And then I kind of swoop it up and down like this. And that's like when you take that big 2-inch brush and just kind of back and forth or up and down. And that puts that into the background. Well, again, we'll come back over this with the snow in a second. Let's go and add this other tree in here real quick though. Using that same brush. I'm going to go a little bit darker this time, so just take the color and move it down a little bit, and you can see it's a little bit darker. Don't go too much darker, just a little bit. I like to kind of push on one side like that, get that shape, and then come up here. It all depends on the kind of overall tree. You can use this brush to create all different kinds of trees. It really is versatile. It's as versatile almost as an actual fan brush, so that's what it was designed to work like. And this technique is, I've talked about this technique in another video too, so if you want to check out my other video, I actually go into the technique of using this brush in more detail. But it's basically like you're swooping like this, like you're kind of making an S motion as you go down and get bigger and bigger. It's very similar to the technique that Bob Ross uses. Like everything is intended to be how I work when I work with physical brushes and paints. And like so, I'm going to add a couple little details to the top of the tree here. Now this one is definitely more in the foreground, so we're going to add more detail to this one. We're going to take the snow color now, and we're going to add some snow to this tree. And so I'm going to start, make sure to leave darkness in between it. Like, see how these trees kind of grow in segments? There's like the dark and the light, dark and light, so I'm kind of stacking up like that. So first I'm going to lay down all the way across like that, but I'm going to leave a dark area in between. You see like that? So there's a dark area in between, like spacing. Now when I get to the top of the tree, I don't want to add too much snow, because if I add too much snow to the top of the tree, it's going to kind of disappear into the background, so you got to decide how much snow you want there. If you do want to add more, I recommend using the mountain brush, and just turning it down really small. And this is where you just kind of clump on some snow. And I recommend to use a much wider color. See that? So that way it kind of pops out. And I'm just kind of little dashes, kind of follow the shape that I've already created with the other brush. And now I'm just kind of focusing on the right hand side mostly. As you can see there. Now I can go back to the other brush I was using. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just push on the right hand side now only. I'm going to add some brush strokes. And this one you want to kind of touch and kind of pull in a direction, like that's pulling down, that's pulling to the right, and then just a little bit of touch and just pull a little bit in one direction only. See, now it's just like mostly that one side. That pops this tree. This tree looks closer to us than the other tree did. Then we're going to push all this more into the background by adding our snow back in here. So let's go ahead and grab the one I like using for snow is my foam brush. This is the same brush I use for doing waves and stuff like that. I'm going to grab that lightest sky color. And I'm going to start with that first. So starting with the lightest sky color, we'll kind of add some texture here and kind of go over those trees like so. And I might add a little bit more of this sky color right here. I'm just going to kind of pull some of this, just lightly touch it like that to get some texture, and then lightly go back and forth to kind of blend it out. I just want to add a little bit of this color. Winter, you know, it's kind of monochromatic. You can really get away with just, you know, a few colors because wintertime is kind of, you know, blues and grays. It's kind of what it looks like. I want to add a little bit more dark right there. I just want to show. And you can go with more of a purpley color for some of these shadows. We'll do something different this time. We're going to go with a little bit more purpley color for this one, for our shadows. In the previous one I just showed, it was more of a kind of a tealish. It was more like towards cyan. We're going to go more towards purple this time. So this is someone asked what software this is. This is PaintStorm. What's awesome about PaintStorm is it has a great blending. Look at see how that color blends? See how it just created new colors in between there? It's got a great blending engine. Just absolutely works great for Bob Ross style. I've tried all different kinds of software. I do love Photoshop. I use Photoshop for certain types of paintings. But for my Bob Ross paintings, I strictly use PaintStorm because it is absolutely amazing. And my brushes are free. I took a long time to develop all these brushes here. These are my Bob Ross brushes. You won't find these anywhere else. I developed all these from scratch, my own textures, everything. It took a long time to build them. In fact, I think they're worth, you know, $30 by themselves. But I don't charge anything for them. They're for free because I want everyone to enjoy this style of painting. It's absolutely amazing. So here, if you go to my website, which is masterpaintingnow.com. click on subscribe for free lessons, and you'll see I have one video that shows how to use the brushes and how to install the brushes. Another one the other one's the download file. Sorry. So the download file, and get back to my software. There we go. And PaintStorm right now is only $20. It's been like that for a while. So they say it's a sale special, but they've been doing it for a long time. So I don't think they plan on reducing that price anytime soon, or raising it up rather. So definitely recommend getting that if you can afford $20. This software is amazing for only $20. Notice I haven't worked on more than one layer yet. I'm still working on the same layer. I'm going to kind of use my awesome brush. I just want to blend some of this out here. I just don't want it to be too detailed. Just kind of blend a little bit of that, add some atmosphere. There we go. Take my awesome blender brush and just kind of blend some of this into each other like that. That's a good foundation for our hills. I do have some anatomy study tutorials, so if you search my YouTube channel, just search for anatomy. If you don't know how to do that, you know, when you go to someone's channel, so if you go to my YouTube channel, for example, let me see here, hold on. So if you were to go to my YouTube channel, I'll just Learn to draw. I'm not sure if this will bring up my YouTube channel. Yeah, there it is. So when you go to my YouTube channel, if you go to the home page right here, just click on the search engine right here and just type anatomy like that. Then I have some free tutorials about human anatomy. I also have an entire course that's dedicated to that. So if you go to my art courses here on Udemy, I'm one of the most what's the word? I don't want to use the wrong word. I guess popular. One of the most popular art instructors on Udemy. I have over like 64,000 students on there, all happy paying students. And this is my most popular course right now. You can actually buy it for $10. It's normally 95 bucks. It's a 65-hour mega course on mastering the human figure, all about going from the basics of human anatomy, stick figures, things like that, working all the way up to all the muscles, where they attach, how they move, how they flex, fat tissue, everything you need to know about drawing the human figure. So that's a really great value right now for only 10 bucks. So yeah, definitely check that out. That course has like, I think it's 6 or 43,000 students right now. All right, cool. So I like where this is going so far. So I think I'm gonna do something very similar like I did before. I'm gonna show a couple different things. So one, we're gonna learn how to do a more detailed tree using the Bob Ross brush. It's very similar to how you do if you were doing it with physical oils. And I think I might do it similar to how I did the quick paint sketch there for the course, which will be maybe kind of red and yellows underneath it. That'd be kind of cool with some snow on it. And then we'll do some snow rocks. I'll teach you a couple cool techniques, really quick, easy way to make rocks look like rocks. Maybe we'll do some ice right here and then a snowman. So let's go ahead and do the ice first, because ice is pretty easy to do. I'm going to grab this color and come down darker with it. And we're going to use the, I guess I'm going to use my textured knife brush here first. And kind of add, we're going to start kind of going back there at first like this, and we'll come forward with it. Just make little strokes like that. So if you were using physical brushes, this would be taking the knife and just kind of scraping like that from side to side all the way down. And then lightly push on the edges here to just kind of blend this out. So this is going to be like going with a blender brush and just kind of blending it out. You can also use the Awesome Blender and just lightly touch some of the edges here. Just kind of blend some of the edge out like that. Because I don't want too much texture on this. And you can even use the foam brush as well and just kind of push some of this back and forth. Make this brush smaller, kind of take that snow color. We just want to kind of push that snow right back over like this. A little bit bigger, just kind of pull like this. Just kind of pull the snow right over the top like that. And there we have it. Couple little angled strokes. Everything is really easy, just kept very easy. I might take a little bit darker color here, right in the center. Let's add this darker color. Now what's really cool about anything where you're doing reflectivity, so if you want something to look reflective, so ice is reflective, that's what makes ice look like ice. So if we want to make this look like ice, add a little bit of purple right here. We need reflectivity. So basically it's a mixture of reflectivity. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Anyway, so to do that, you want to start first with vertical. So we want to pull some vertical lines down. And then after we have some vertical lines pulled down, we want to then pull some horizontal lines across those. So basically it's vertical lines and then horizontal lines. I'm just kind of adding a few little details here and there. Just want that to kind of look like a path where snow's kind of meeting it. I think I'm going to take this color, go a little bit more blue, more towards cyan, more toward white, make it a little bit brighter, and then using my textured mountain brush, I think I'm going to come back in here like that and just add some texture. There we go. I want a little bit of texture on my snow. That's a quick way to add some texture and some light where the light is hitting on the snow. And then you can take your foam texture. If you don't like too much texture in the snow, you can kind of just lightly touch it and kind of blend a little bit of that out like so. Cool. So then we're going to take, see, I'm trying to think what brushes. We can probably use our Yeah, we'll just use our horizontal fan brush here. We're going to take some lighter colors and pull them down into this dark. So everything's going to be dark. And we're going to take our lighter color here and just pull straight down like this. Right? So right on the edge, we're going to pull some of this snow as it's reflecting into the ice. Just like that, just pull it straight down. And then we're going to take our vertical brush and we're going to go back and forth, just light strokes like this. Right back over this. We don't want to totally destroy the horizontal strokes. We still want some of that horizontal strokes to be there. So the verticals overlap the horizontal, and look at that. It ends up looking like ice. And that's that simple. That's how you make it look like ice, the Bob Ross style. This is kind of a cool brush. Forgot about this one. This is good to make different kinds of trees. Maybe I'll make the big tree with this in the foreground. We could do that. A mixture of that brush and another brush maybe. Just debating on if I want to add. I'm gonna go with a foam. I'm gonna go back to my foam brush. I just want to add a little bit more detail here. So again, this is like make this kind of small. This is like using the edge of the knife. Take this brighter white color and just lightly pull some of this, just like that. See that? I'm just kind of pulling some of it right over this, right over the ice there, just like that. This is as if a little bit of snow, you know, is kind of worked its way. The ice froze and some snow kind of fell over and worked its way back on there, just like that. Cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our big tree now. We're going to add this big kind of Christmas tree. Then we'll do some rocks. Actually, let's do a rock real quick. I want to show you guys how to do a rock. They're really easy. So you know how Bob Ross would often he'd either just do 2 strokes, or he would take one brush and load it with 2 different colors. So he'd load one side with a lighter color, one side with a dark color, and just one stroke make a rock for making those kinds of like just more round pebble rocks. I'm just checking something here real quick. Okay, cool. Everything's going good. Yeah, if you have any more questions, anyone, feel free to ask them. So we're going to start with a darker color. We're going to kind of use this tree color here. And we'll just go darker. We want it almost black, not quite black, somewhere right around there on the color. We'll make a rock up here. So just kind of make the shape of the rock like so. Make sure that when you make the bottom of the rock wants to be horizontal, because whenever it sits into something, like if it's sitting in water or sitting on snow, it's going to be pretty much horizontal on the bottom there. It doesn't have to be totally horizontal because the snow can kind of make little lumps and stuff, but for the most part. Next, we want to take a lighter gray color, kind of a grayish blue color, and just add a couple strokes to the top of the rock like this. Make it just a couple shapes. So you're just making a couple strokes on top of the other shape, and that's all you have to do, and the rock's done. If you want to add a little bit of detail, you can. You can just cut into that, you know, like that with a darker color, and just add a little bit of shape to it. And then finally, you take the textured brush, and we can add a little bit of snow. So let's grab a snow color here. Take our texture knife, the same thing we used to make mountains, and just add a little bit of texture, a couple knife strokes like that. Just pull one direction, and voila, you have snow rock, just like that. Then we're going to take the edge, the bottom edge here of the rock, and just kind of take maybe the foam brush and just kind of pull around like that. What that allows you to do is just kind of sets the rock in there. I'm going to kind of pull some of the edge of the rock here, the darker color. I'm just lightly touching it with this foam brush. See, that kind of like melts it into the snow. Adds a little bit of like, you know, almost as if the rock has a little bit of dirt around it. And it's just that easy to make rocks, really simple. You can do the same thing with different colors. You can use more tannish colors, you know, or more grayish colors for the highlight to make it look like, you know, not a snow rock, but a rock just out in the open that doesn't have snow on it. So mess around with that, different colors. Let's go ahead and make our Christmas tree now, or winter tree, but let's go with the vertical. I'm going to start with a really dark color again. So come way down here. I'm going to go middle, kind of in the middle here now. Straight up and down. We're going to put it right. It's our bravery test, as Bob Ross says. We're going to put it right there. That's where our tree is going to live. Come back with this brush. This one has the angles on it. Allows me to pull different angles. I'm going to start with the brush a little bit smaller. Come at a nice angle here for the first couple sets of leaves like that. Then come this way at another angle. And kind of just add a few of those, and then come back this way again. We can add more. We can add more in a second, but this is how I like to start, just like that. Then I can keep coming back and forth like that. So this is the exact same, technique that Bob Ross uses when he's using the fan brush to make trees. He comes down at each angle like that, pushing on the edges, and comes down this way, and then comes down that way. Then he starts getting thicker with it typically. This brush doesn't really allow you to do that so much, but he would get thicker with it as it comes down. We can just kind of make a few strokes over it to kind of get that same feel, and then comes down to the bottom of the tree like so. Then we have to come back up here. Unfortunately, digital has some limitations, so we can't make everything perfect on the first go around like you can with the fan brush. And oils, you can literally just do all this in one quick motion coming down. When working with digital, you have to come back here and just fill a few more of these strokes out, especially in between right here. But this is the technique that works really good for doing these kinds of trees. And add a few more like this. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask them. This is a live show. And then I like to come with my brush really small now, and I'm going to add just a few little shapes up here like this, and then just kind of separate them. And then I'm going to come straight up and down like that, make that straight shape again like that. Very impressionistic. You're not trying to go for photo. Keep in mind, when you're doing Bob Ross style, it's impressionistic. You're not trying to make something look like a photo. You're not trying to make it look real. You just want the impression of what it's representing. So that's a really good, I think it's a really good base for our tree. Like that. I'm going to add a few more. As I come down here to the bottom, I actually want this base to be a little bit bigger like that. There we go. Adding a few more leaves here and there. That's a good base. And what I like to do sometimes is take my awesome blender brush and I like to just kind of blend out some of the edges here. Just kind of lightly go back and forth, very lightly touch this. We're just going to add a little bit like that. Just kind of blend it into the scene a little bit like that. Then we're going to come back over, we're going to try some cool colors. So we could just stick, to typical colors. We can do something like, make it a blue spruce and use kind of more of a blue color, and then snow on top of that. Bob Ross does that a lot. But I want to kind of add a little bit of color to this. And so we're going to go with, make it look as though the tree had turned different colors. We're going to start with a nice red color. We don't want it too saturated though. Something like that. And we're going to add some color to the whole entire tree on each section like this. We want dark, leave some dark in between the red though. See how I'm leaving dark in between? So I'm just touching some of these branches like that as we come up. When you get toward the top, I don't think I want too much color. Maybe a little bit of color. So that's a little bit of the red. Then we're going to add a little bit of the orangish yellow. Again, don't go too saturated, otherwise it's going to look weird because we're in this kind of winter setting, so color is going to be less saturated. So I'm kind of more toward the middle with this color. I'm not way up here. This would be way too saturated. That'd be like, whoa, that kind of color doesn't show up. And I'm just adding a few on the right hand side only now because we're thinking about where the light's coming from. So like that. And then finally we can take our snow color, add a little bit of snow on top of all this. So I'm going to add a little bit of snow on top of here. What I could have done too is I could have thought about where I wanted this tree to be. And then I could have been like, you know what? Because this tree, leave some dark in between this as well. So to use this, you want to kind of like touch the screen and then push down just a little bit. Just lightly push down or lightly push left or right to make these marks. And I'm careful to leave some of that under color, especially that dark. I want those shadows in there. But what I could have done is toward the top of this tree. If I wanted to be more snowy on top, I could have made the background more dark right there. So I could have made the background have less clouds. You can always also paint the tree on a separate layer, so that if you decide you wanted to change the background, you can easily change the background and pop this tree out more. But just like that, we have a tree that fits, and we got some snow, we got some shadows. If you want, you can take the mountain brush and draw in some more snow just piled on top like this. And when you do that, I recommend just tiny little marks, so that you have the shape of the tree, the kind of, see that, just little marks. So you don't want to just like, you pile it up and then you make the edges have little marks like that. So it kind of is having the shape of the tree basically. Now I'm going to kind of pile that up on the top. So there we go. Now we have a nice kind of Christmas tree looking thing. If you want to add a couple marks of snow down here, you can as well. Just kind of pile it up wherever you want to pile it up. Like so. And then we're going to take our foam brush now, and we're going to come back over our snow because we got to set this tree in the snow. So we're going to pull some of our snow that's coming back up. We're going to take some of our shadow color here. I want to add a little bit of shadow in the snow right here, like that, so the tree looks like it's inside the snow. And then I'm going to take some of this whiter color and just coming back over, making some, see that, almost like a waterfall right there. That's a little hump right there. Then we're going to add another little hump right here. There we go. A little bit of snow right there. So now the tree looks like it's kind of setting in the snow. We got some lumps of snow build up right here, maybe some more right here. Maybe light's hitting right here because there's some bumps here. Keep in mind that how light and shadow work is where you put the shadow, that's going to recede things away from you. Where you put the light, it's going to pop things out. So it's going to make it bubble out more. Let's take our awesome blender brush and let's start to blend a lot of this right here. I just want all this to kind of fit like a blizzard. See that? I'm lightly pulling. See how I'm pulling off the mountain there? Just lightly pulling it, make it look like wind. I'm going to kind of pull off this tree right here as well. Just try to make it look like wind. That's too much. There we go. Just trying to pull some of this in the background here. Pull off of this. We can really pull like that. If you really want some wind, you can really, pull this and make it look like wind had just hit right there and kind of blew it off. It makes it just kind of fit into the scene more. Maybe add some wind to the background clouds here. Just kind of lightly pull it. This is like if you're using a 2-inch brush and you're just a dry or even maybe slightly damp 2-inch brush. You're just like lightly brushing the background, just kind of blend it out a little bit so it's not so much harsh lines, and add a little bit of wind movement, just like that. Look at those very distant trees in the background. Looks really nice. And as we come forward, everything has depth to it because we, worked in layers like that. Okay, cool. So next we can add a snowman. We can actually add some snow right now, and then we can add the snowman because we're going to do it on a separate layer anyway, so we can do it anytime. So for snow, there's a default brush here that comes with the software. It's under let's see, I think it's under lights, and go down to one here called Stars Simple. So under Stars Simple, you can actually change the texture to a leaf. So see, I've changed it to this leaf texture right here. So it comes with default, it's a round tip, but you can click on this tip instead, the leaf, and then just say OK single, and it's going to choose that for your shape now. So the brush works exactly the same. We're going to add a really white color here, and we're just going to kind of pull this and just lightly tap in different sections, and this adds our snow just like that. And then if that's too much snow, you can just come through and take your eraser and just erase some of the big ones that are right next to each other. You don't need that many big snowflakes, so we're just going to erase some of the big ones like so, especially if there's a couple right next to each other. And you can just erase the ones that you feel are too big, and then we want to kind of add some texture to that, some movement. So we're going to take our awesome blender brush again and just pull in the direction you want the wind going. So the same direction, I'm going to just go with the same direction I've been going. This is kind of this diagonal direction. Notice I'm only on that layer right now, on the layer with the snowflakes. I'm just kind of pulling them. Actually, wait, is it? Okay, hold on. This brush is allowing me to work on all layers right now. Is it? Is that what it is? Hold on, let me see. Oh, I see what it's doing. So it's not messing the layer below it, but it is blending more than just that layer. I forget how to change. I think if I turn that off, I think it's still going to. Let me see if that just lightly blends some of this. Let me see. It depends how you want it to be. You can turn that background layer off and on if you want to. Yeah, that's what I thought it does. So it does that. Okay. So it actually is going to blend with the background. It's kind of interesting how it works. I think there's a way to set up the layer, and there's an option you can choose somewhere. I forget where that option is. I believe there's an option though you can turn off and on to make it to where it's not blending with the background. But for the most part, it looks good anyways. But I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that to where it'll blend only itself and not blend with the background at all. And like so. And then what I usually do is I usually turn this layer's opacity down so it's not messing with the background too much. Something about like so. Then I make one other layer. I'm going to go back to that same brush again. The Star Simple brush. And then we just want to add a few more. I'm going to start really small. Add a few small specks here and there. Just like so. Then make it larger and just add a few really big. No, that's too big. That's huge. If you do want any snow like that in the very, very foreground, you can. Just like that. Now you have that nice look to it. And let's go back to our Bob Ross brushes. I'm going to go to my foam brush now, make it small. I'm just going to slightly smooth some of these snowflakes, just like that. Just to give them a little bit of movement. This would be similar to if you were working with physical brushes and you were to take the paint and just dip the brush in it and just take your finger and just slightly flick it like that at the canvas and get nice little specks. And if you feel like you've lost too much, you can go back to your eraser brush here and just kind of erase where you kind of want some more of that detail. So I really want that background right here. I don't want to lose that, so I'm erasing all the way around there. I really want to show. I worked hard on getting that background. It looks like light's kind of coming through the trees, so I don't want to ruin that. So I want to kind of erase some of these snowflakes. And I feel like I had too many big ones right there, so I'm going to get rid of some of them. There's too many snowflakes here. Just kind of get rid of some of the repetitive patterns. There you go. Looks like a nice winter scene. Now we just got to add a snowman. So to add the snowman, I'm going to get rid of this for right now. I'm just going to turn those off. Makes it easier to focus on the snowman. Snowman's really easy. We're going to start with our mountain brush. And we're going to make three spheres basically. So we're going to start with our kind of darker color or something like this. And we'll add our snowman right here. There's our snowman. We're going to take this darker kind of color. I just want to add a little bit of shadow. Like that. There we go. Just kind of imagining the overall shape the snowman's going to have when it's done. And just kind of adding that shadow shape to the snow like that. You can take your foam brush and just kind of blend that shadow out a little bit. There we go. Back to mountain brush. Let's go ahead and make this bottom sphere like this. And then we're going to take our foam brush, take this nice bright white color, start in the center. Actually, I'm going to start with my textured knife brush just to add this first bit of white right here. And lightly blend it out like that. Come down. Now I'm going to take the foam brush. And this allows you to just kind of blend out the edges a little bit like this. And take that darker color. And that's pretty much it. Simple blending. If you're not used to painting, this might take a little bit of practice. You know, you might want to blend a lot of spheres, but it's really not too hard to blend a sphere. Make this a little bit whiter. I just want to add a slightly highlight right there. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Now you can actually paint that on its own layer and then copy and paste it and make each one smaller if you don't want to paint each one. It only takes a second to paint each one, so I'm going to make one that's a little bit like that. Start with my foam texture brush first. Add the white in here. Then I'm going to go to my foam texture brush. Hey, how you doing there? The art. Just lightly pull it out to the edges so it kind of, see, it turns into a sphere. Like so. Then I want to take this white to make it a little bit whiter. Just push right there on the top edge. Pretty simple. Finally, we're going to make the head of the snowman. And the head of the snowman is going to be a little sphere like that. Same technique. Everything's going to be the same here that I just discussed. Make the brush a little bit smaller. Start at the top here. Just kind of move lightly. Take the foam brush now and just lightly blend out. If you need to zoom in, that's fine. I've been doing this a long time, so I don't feel like I need to zoom in on it. I want a little bit highlights right there, and then we'll go back with my foam texture brush. I'm going to kind of blend some of this together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this white color and see where the spheres look like they're just set on top of each other. I want it to kind of form and mold, so I'm going to take some of this white, or whiter color. It's not white, but like that. See, I'm just kind of pushing up a couple different strokes, and what that does is it fills in the gap. It's like I'm packing snow right there. So where that crack was, where the two spheres sat on top of each other, just add a little bit of white there, and it kind of sets the snow right on top of each other, just like that. And then I want to kind of fit the snowman in here. So I'm going to take some of my textured knife brush, take some of the snow color. I just want to kind of pull some snow up on top of the snowman like that. Take some of this shadow color, pull it on this side, and maybe take some more snow right here. And basically just made it look like, you know, people have been playing and walking right here. So we got some snow right there. Boom, just like that. Next, we're going to take our mountain brush again, make it really small, go toward purple, really dark. We want this one. We want to make some arms. So this arm is going to start connected to the snow. We're actually going to see where it connects. And then just lightly with this brush, don't pull too hard, just really lightly pull with this brush and kind of indicate the shape of a branch like that. And then lightly touch on the edges. See, that kind of blurs it out a little bit, so it's not too detailed. Just lightly touch around where it connects a little bit to kind of give it a little bit blurry, so kind of almost like it's making the snow look dirty. Same thing with the other side, just kind of pull a shape out here and then kind of add a couple different, you know, whatever shape you want to add for the hand. Make the edge a little bit darker like that. And then I think with this one, yeah, I think we'll add two eyes. So one eye here, one eye there. Lightly touch around it to kind of blend it out. And then we can either give a big smile. I kind of want to see how I have some of this red and orange in this tree, and that's the only place red and orange appears in the entire painting. I think we kind of need to balance that, and that's why I added the orange nose on him before. I'm debating whether or not we should add a smile first, though, so let's add a couple little dots. There you go, that's a smile. Maybe give him some buttons. And I don't think I'm going to give this one a hat. The other one I gave a hat. I think I'm going to leave the hat off this one. Let's go give this nice orange color right here. Give him a nice bright orange nose. That's a little bit too bright. I do want it to show up though, but I don't want it to be too bright. Like that, and then go down with like this more redder color here. Just to add a little bit of shadow. And see that kind of orange, you know, it fits over here. Maybe even, we can even add maybe a couple little, take this color over here. Maybe just add a couple little marks. And then take the redder color. There we go. Just add a couple little red marks as well. Take our foam brush and just kind of blend those out a little bit. And that could be anything. It could be that, you know, a couple leaves fell off the tree and fell over here. kind of just blending them out into the snow, just very lightly. What that does is kind of blends them in so they look like they belong there. Alright, so that's pretty much it. That's how you do the snowman. Just seeing if there's anything else I want to add to that. I think that's pretty much good. If you want to add a few more rocks, like I said, they're really easy to do. Just take a darker kind of grayish blue color, take the mountain brush, decide where we want the rock at, make a couple shapes. That's a rock. Make this one kind of bigger. And that's a rock, just like that. And then just like Bob Ross would do, we just take a lighter color. Hey, thanks, Art, appreciate it. And just kind of add a couple, strokes on top of it. Just kind of imagine a shape like that. So you just, literally, I'm just doing a couple different strokes right on top of that. Just space them apart so that there's a little bit of dark in between. And that's it, you're done. And then you can just add a few other little smaller marks on top of that, and that's snow. In this case, though, I'm going to use the rock, or not rock, but the texture knife brush, which we use for all different kinds of texture. We use this mostly for mountains, but you can just add a few. Just a little bit like that, so some snow is stacked on the rocks. And then we're going to take that same brush and kind of go over the bottom here to kind of set it in the snow like that. Then take our foam brush that we use for all kinds of stuff. This one's great for just lightly touch it and stay horizontal with this. Look at that, it just kind of stains the snow. It looks like it just goes right into the snow. But this mainly what I use this brush for. I mean, I've been using it for all kinds of stuff, especially with snow. But what I created it for, I should say, was for doing the foam on water, like on waves, like ocean waves coming up. That's mainly what I created it for, but I've been using it for all kinds of stuff now because it really comes in handy. Really good for snow, I found. And there we go. And if you want those rocks to have a little bit of shade to them, let's say take this kind of purple color, make it dark, make sure it's a little bit lighter than the dark rock there. There we go. Maybe that'll be good. And this, you can add just a little bit of texture into those shadow areas just by touching it like that in the opposite direction. And that kind of tones down some of the darkness and basically adds some highlights to that part of the, pushing up some snow in front of the rock like that. See that? Just a couple little strokes with the texture knife brush, and we added some snow in front of the rock there. Add some texture right there. And that's pretty much it. So that's how you can do rocks. It's really easy. These brushes can do everything that you want to do Bob Ross style, and so hopefully that shows and demonstrates some of what you can do with it. Really fun. I really have fun with this. This only took 58 minutes, and that was, so this entire painting only took 58 minutes. And keep in mind that was with talking and demonstrating and explaining what I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. If I would have just busted this out really fast, I could have easily done this in 20 minutes, no problem. In fact, the original that I did for the course, my Bob Ross course that I finished recording but I haven't put on Udemy yet, I still got to do some other things before it's ready for Udemy, but this is the original that I did in like 5 or 10 minutes. I think it was like 10 minutes. And I did this one really quickly as a demonstration. Mainly it was just a demonstration how to use the tree brush, but then I got a little carried away and showed how to do a bunch of other things with the brushes in the course, and this was a result in like 10 minutes. So, and this is a similar result. And this one, I think if I wasn't talking and doing this live, I would have done this in about 20 minutes or so. But instead it took like 58 minutes. But yeah, so there it is. And then lastly, I like to sign my name on this kind of stuff, so I start with red and I move toward purple to right about there, and that gives me fuchsia, which is my favorite color. And I usually sign with my mountain brush. Sometimes I'll sign with one of these pen brushes. So you can go to a pen brush if you want. Oh, not that one. I don't like how that works. No. What's the brush I usually use? That one's kind of nice. I think this one. Then I like to zoom in on the corner, make my brush smaller, Yeah, that brush is dumb. Let me see here. These do not work like anything like pins. Where's the real... Okay, I don't know. These pins are dumb. I thought there was one that worked like a normal pin, just real time. These are cool to get certain types of... Like this is cool for certain type of plants and effects. You know, like leaves and stuff at the edge of the... Not like that, though. Now it's doing two different kinds of things. Like that, so if you were to pull out... That's where it's doing... It's random. Looks like it's doing two different things. But that'd be cool to make little flowers, so you can see how that can make a flower. Like that. It's similar to... Come on. Why is it doing that sometimes? Let me try this way. No. Huh. If it worked consistently, what the hell? Start hard and then let off light? No. It's like random. Sometimes it wants to do that brush stroke, sometimes it wants to do that one. Do the right brush stroke already. Okay, well, it doesn't want to work with me. But you see how that can turn to a flower? It's kind of cool. I don't know if you ever painted flowers like that traditionally. You put two different colors on a brush and it's kind of one stroke like that from the center outward. You make a cool flowers that way. Alright, I'm just going to use a pencil because these are not working the way... Come on, where's just a regular... There we go. That's probably as close as I'm going to get to. Let me see, what else is on? Hold on, let me find something else here. It's got to be something. I usually just sign it with my mountain brush, but I was like, there's got to be something else that works similar to if I was just using a small brush. This one's close. But whatever, I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. There's the signature. There's the final painting. I also like to look at it as a thumbnail just to make sure it reads. Because if it reads as a thumbnail, it's good that it'll also read as a big painting. Cool. And then finally, I guess I'll save this one. Just to post on Facebook to say, hey, 2019 live snow. I'll probably end up deleting it afterwards. But just keep it for now so I can post it onto Facebook. To say this is what we did on the live video, whatever. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much it. If there's any more questions, feel free to ask them. If anyone has any questions before we close out the live stream, I think that's good for me today. And if you guys have any requests, feel free to, after this video, so once I stop this video, it'll go onto the archive and to the site. So if you wanted to, you can either leave a message here or wait till it goes actually as a regular video in the archive. You can leave a comment and just let me know what you want. Or you can just comment any of my recent videos. It doesn't matter. Just go to one of my recent videos and leave a comment on what you'd like to see in the future. So if there's any particular type of scene that you want to request for the next live video, or even the next recorded video, just let me know. So I'm not sure what kind of scene I'm going to do for the next live video. I was thinking maybe a waterfall scene or something like that. So that might be kind of cool to do. It's like a bigger waterfall with more water, like a lot of water. So maybe like a water scene with some waterfalls in the background. Or what else would be cool? I'm not sure what else. Maybe I'll just pick a painting from one of Bob Ross's. Desert sand, that might be kind of cool. I was actually messing around with some desert, showing kind of how to do desert in my course, in my Bob Ross course. It's kind of cool because you can do desert. This actually started off as a desert scene in the course. This snow scene actually started off as a desert scene. And then I was like, look how easily you can turn it to snow. And all I did was just change the colors, and the technique was very similar to get desert. So maybe, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do some like desert dunes. You know, we'll do like some desert dunes and then maybe some cactus and little desert shrubbery, some little bushes and stuff. Yeah, so maybe a desert scene, that might be kind of cool. Alright, so I don't know when I'm going to be doing my live stream. I don't have any set schedule, but I'll probably be going live in the next couple days again. I've been trying to do it like every few days, you know, like every 2 to 3 days or so. Sometimes I'll do it again the very next day, so I might be on tomorrow and hopefully around the same time or so. Usually it's around the same time as I streamed last time, so if I stream again the next day. But the best way to the best way to stay in touch to make sure that you don't miss a live stream is to subscribe, obviously. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified when I go live again. So, all right, cool. Thank you everyone for watching. Much appreciated. Thank you for asking some questions there, Art Reed. Much appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time. As Bob Ross would say, God bless.